AI ate the internet. It's a great topic. It's a great title, but it's the truth. And here's what's happening. Just this morning, I went on Instagram and I've heard about this, and Katie's actually heard about this too. But Katie, what we're talking about right now is this whole tendency. I saw it on an Instagram post, but it's basically saying tech giants are panicking because the internet just ran out of human data. Let's quick set it up by saying that at the end of 2025, with all these companies that are about to go public, they had consumed every book we know, stealing a lot of them, every article, every human conversation. And so it trained on all that. That's why it's been so good. But some of these companies are about ready to go at $1 trillion valuation. And so they need more data to train on. And so if they train on the old data, it's called model collapse. It's like inbreeding. When it trains on AI generated text already, it's like learning from a bad photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. It keeps going down. And that is going to be a huge bummer because it's going to reduce valuation. And as a result, what they're doing now is they are going massively after new content. Let's just be truthful, new IP. And so we've seen this shift with our friend Nick Hutchinson of Book Thinkers, who basically said, yeah, it's scraping social media the moment you hit publish, even this podcast. That's why we're now protecting our podcasts with instant IP. But what do you think of this, Katie, that this last quote, the most expensive sought after commodity on earth is no longer silicon chips or raw compute. It's your authentic, unautomated human thought, i.e. your intellectual property.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because the models, they need data and they need good data, right? Yeah. And we've talked about this before where, I think it's going to be interesting to see where the future of AI takes us to be able to know that it's getting trained on good data and authenticate good data. So I think this is a real problem because, I'm hearing not only is it going to run out of data, right, but also power to power all these computers to run on all these huge data sets, which is why there's such a focus on nuclear technology to run some of these. So I think it's a really interesting problem, and where this ends up going, I think IP is going to be central to it because data, how do you prove ownership of data and protect data in a way to either allow the models to scrape it or not allow it to?
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like if AI can't get new data, they've shown a path before that they'll steal. So that's nothing new. Like, think about it. If you can get new data and it's going to increase your valuation by millions or billions or even trillions, you suddenly start compromising the ethics. And so if they've stolen in the past, they're going to steal in the future. And so again, we're not against AI training. We're just saying pay the people who are creating it, which is creating your valuation. So it's like saying, like, movies use songs all the time, and the singers and the musicians get paid royalties if their song is in a movie. If somebody's art is used in a gallery, you get paid. So we're not against AI training on IP. We're against it stealing IP. And Katie, I went live yesterday, and there was a lady who kind of combated me a little bit, which is fine. It's cool. It's on LinkedIn, and she responded respectfully and I responded back respectfully, but it's this whole output input. So maybe we could just spend our last 5 minutes talking about that. I'm not saying that we can stop AI companies at the input level. That'd be pretty tough. But what we can do is that it's almost like Minority Report arresting somebody for thinking of murder. It's pretty tough to do. But what I'm saying is, let's catch them once the output is infringed. you know?
Mhm.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I know
Yeah.
that the whole debate that's happening right now at USPTO but it's the difference between input and output. I'm saying people should get paid if their IP was stolen and used to train, but there's also a second level of infringement where the output is now leading consumers to believe, "Oh, I came up with something amazing and genius," and really it's just a complete ripoff of somebody else's things. That also needs to be held accountable. What's the difference, Katie? Input, output, and are both, positions need to be held accountable?
Yeah. No, and I think that's where there's a lot of proprietary innovation, and where I'm seeing a lot of patenting activity is around your inputs to the model, how you're training the model, what
Mhm.
types of maybe training data you're using, where you're generating the training data from, if the training data is labeled or unlabeled
Mm.
data, and then how that's generating an output, and maybe if that output is then informing a downstream process
Yeah.
or decision making or recommendation. So there's a lot of different angles to this, and a lot of different areas where your proprietary data can get pulled in. So that's why knowing how it's getting used and put
Yep.
into it is so important, because you know you should be compensated based on where in the whole equation it's coming in and what it's sort of doing in these models too. And that's why you want to look at the input, the output, and the whole process of the data transformation in the model as
Mm.
well.
That's good. That's good. Well, I know we only have 3 minutes left. We wanna talk about this super relevant topic. I do wanna give a shout out to someone that I just found their article. I'm going to tag him, but this Aman Vaths, the founder of NADCAB Labs. I'll tell you what, Katie, I found this last night from Claude. The good news is Claude recommended it, cited it, so that's pretty cool. When AI actually gives credit to somebody, that's how I found him. But this article was mind-blowing. It's like everything that I've wanted in an article, everything that I've been thinking. But it's blockchain in intellectual property, use cases, benefits, and real court rulings. Very recent article, very recently updated. Only 69 views. We're going to get a lot more people to view this. But it basically is kind of saying that, look, traditional IP definitely has its place and it's needed. And with this speed that we're seeing with AI, and the training and the model and the input and the output, something like instant IP, something like blockchain validated IP is super important for that origin, owner, provenance. So maybe you could just spend the last 60 seconds kind of talking about like why the world is maybe waking up to both traditional and blockchain.
Yeah. So I'd say with something like blockchain, right, that's an opportunity to timestamp your conception of your idea for trade secret
Mhm.
protection purposes, so long as you keep whatever you're putting on there a secret, right? Not putting anytime that whatever the idea is published, you lose that trade secret protection. But um, that's a great first step to just timestamp ownership of
Mhm.
conception of the
Fair.
idea.
Yeah.
And a lot of times trade secrets later on become patents or maybe a
Yes.
trademark, but that's why you always want to be sort of mining your IP to look
That's right.
for opportunities to protect it based on your overall business and IP strategy as well.
That's right. Last thing we'll say, folks, is that even this was encouraging. The World Intellectual Property Organization just established recently a blockchain task force. And so I do feel like finally, the IP world is waking up to like we need new technology, new strategies. And so thanks for joining Katie and I today. And keep taking your IP seriously because the AI models are as well. We'll see you.